We're back.
We are back.
Like Arnie, we're back.
We survived Christmas.
Yeah, we survived just by the skin of our teeth. Yeah, we haven't updated for a while.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a sort of tumbleweed through a western town lately, but you know.
We had a lot of plans, but they all went awry. So,
yeah.
But here we are. Time stories.
Time stories.
Time
stories of time.
Time Cop. Oh no, wait, that's not what it is, but it is.
Funny
it
enough,
is Time Cop.
It basically is Time Cop, the board game.
Yeah.
If anyone has played it, they'll understand.
For anyone who doesn't know what Time Cop is, we'll put Time Cop in now. That was Time Cop! Hey! That's how that works. Time stories. So we picked this up at Dragon Meet.
Yeah.
And we sat down and played it for the first time just after Christmas. 3-player. And it's the first time we ever played it. So we're only 2 years late to the party?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, from my perspective, this feels like it just came out. Like, it feels very fresh. But yeah,
to everyone else, it's like a relic from a time gone by.
Yeah. Just blow the dust off.
Yeah. Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know what Time Stories is, we'll do a quick little rules demonstration right now. And then we'll come back and we'll let you know what we thought of it. So Time Stories is, at its heart, an RPG or an adventure game book type game where you're all playing characters and you're basically sent back in time to repair a rift in the time continuum which is affecting the future. So there's various elements to the game board, and basically what happens is throughout the game you plug in these expansions, or there's one in the base game. They are sets of cards which play specifically to a certain scenario. And what you do is you set up all the cards in this panorama shape here, and this is your main starting hub. So we'll show you this. This isn't too much of a spoiler. You start on this area here on the base, which is where you get sent out to do all your various missions. You use these little game player pieces to move around the board, and wherever you put these pieces is where you interact with a part of the map, like so. When you get into the main world, each of you assumes the identity of one of the characters from that world, and the player will pick a character, keep it in front of them, and the character will have various different skills on their card, and those different skills will aid them with their abilities and their stats in order to complete the mission. You have an item deck up in the top right hand corner, which is made up of various different items you can collect in the game world, and these items will hopefully aid you in your quest, for example with this plunger. Spoilers. Some items are represented by these little tokens which are variable, and one item, for example here, represents cocaine, while another one might represent a bullet. And those will vary entirely from game to game, along with the different abilities your characters can possess. To fulfill certain tests in the world of Time Stories, you'll roll these dice and be aiming to get a certain number of these little success icons here. Skulls rolled will add up against the characters and potentially harm them. With certain tests, you will have a certain number of shields, and these represent things like battles or battles of will against characters in the game. Blank shields you merely have to clear in order to succeed. Shields with little skull icons on them damage the players if not removed, and various other ones with certain symbols on have specific effects determined by the scenario. While the players are representing avatars in the world and going around completing the mission, they have to be aware of the time track and where their time pawn is located. While the time pawn often starts up high, like on 30 time units, it will slowly tick away, and every action they take in the world and every negative consequence of an action they take in the world will slowly tick down the time track. If it ever reaches the 0 part of the track, the game is immediately over and the players will take one of their mission failed cards. And there are many different ways to fail the mission within the scenario. However, if they manage to complete the mission and seal all the objectives before the time token gets to the 0 track, they get to take the mission successful card, in which case they've completed the game successfully. This is the main goal of Time Stories, and certain scenarios are said to have various different mission successful conditions. So Time Stories is essentially a story-based game. The players are going back and trying to solve various different missions as this time-based task force, and the basic premise of every single mission remains the same. You go back several times, and each time you go through the mission, certain things remain the same, and other things change. And you try to work out the most successful and the most optimized route through the game in order to complete it. So there's no way a group of people will ever complete it on the first run through. This game definitely leans heavily on going back, repeating the missions, and trying to learn from them in a live, die, repeat or groundhog style until you gain all the information that is necessary to complete the game. So that was the rule breakdown.
Yeah.
Very neatly taken care of by that guy who's
Yeah.
awesome at rules, whoever he is.
Bit funny looking, but
Yeah, each their own, I suppose. But dickhead.
I think the system for this is pretty genius, actually. I mean, you know, as Dan mentioned in the setup itself, like the way it sort of plays is a little bit like investing in a video game console. I think that's the best analogy I could think of for it, or has been made. Is, you know, you've got your console, essentially this that comes with a game itself, and you go, great, and play that, which is really complex, and there's, you know, there's a lot going on. But then also you think, oh, actually we've solved that case now. I might know how long that's taken. Now I want to plug something else in. So when we actually tried the Marcy case, so it's a completely different expansion for it.
Exactly, that's actually the second of like 7 different expansions.
They're putting out like 2 a year, I think it feels like, you got all your basic components that, I mean, one of the genius things I do like is all of the interchangeable tokens that they provided with the game. So all the tokens, you know, there's just a blue token or just a brown token, right, it means nothing.
Yeah.
But when you actually fire up the game and you get all the rules for that specific setup, they actually mean, you know, all sorts of different things. And I think that's genius because
it could be the blue could be a bottle of Coca-Cola, sponsored by Coca-Cola, or the yellow could be a bullet, or whatever you want.
That's it.
You know, they are avatars essentially for whatever the game requires.
Yeah, just the other thing I'd like to mention is the art in these games is amazing, I have to say. And we noticed that the art changes dramatically between each of the expansions. So from what I gather, they have a different artist and a different writer or team of writers on each one. So it's not like the game's creators are just sitting there writing all of these scenarios. You're going to get so much variety. I mean,
that's it.
You know, the thing is, I've seen some criticism online from people saying that, you know, it's got a finite kind of experience because kind of once you solve the case, that's that. But I mean, I would argue there's quite a few board games out there that follow this very similar, you know, that are much less varied in what they can offer, that people play like 100 times.
And thinking about other media, like comics or TV series or adventure game books or video games, they're all really good examples of things where it's not infinite. I mean, like if you play Broken Sword or Monkey Island, or you read... haha, unexpected. But there's so many different types of media where, you know, it doesn't have enormous replay value, and you just expect to get a really good meaty story out of it, which actually takes you on some twists and turns and like maybe offers a few different endings to you. And then the joy of replaying it is like forgetting about it and coming back to it a year later, playing it again with a new group of people and experiencing it differently.
Definitely.
But with a little bit of nostalgia.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're only like 20 quid an expansion, so it's not actually that dissimilar to the idea of buying an expansion for a video game. Or...
It's cheaper than a night out, put it that way. So just final thoughts then, what you think overall of it? I mean...
I love it. I think it's like nothing I've ever played before. I love the cleanliness of the interface and just the whole design of it, and the fact that when you plug stuff into it, that creates the theme.
Yes.
So it's not too messy. It's just like, you know, you're focused on what is going on these cards, which is essentially the way you play the game. And I like that simplicity of it, and I like that with our group especially, as I was saying earlier, because we are all going to play it together repeatedly, we'll have learnt the mechanics and we can just open it up and get on with it. And that really appeals to me. You know, like an ongoing, persistent world that we can just keep coming back to. I think that's great.
Yeah, man. I mean, for myself, I'd say I like pretty much everything about it, and I'm loving this game. You can tell from what I've said earlier, but you know, the way it's presented, the fact that, as I say, you know, as I always say, I'm not very good at learning rules. Once I know the rules, I'm great, but actually picking them up, this sort of explains it all card by card. You know, there is a rule book and all that's there, but that's more for clarification of specific rules. That can you go here? Can we do this? Rather than like, right, page 1 of the rules. You know, that's the bit I always roll my eyes out, and I'm just like, oh god, you know, here we go again. This actually explains everything really nicely, and I just picked it up as we went, really straightforward.
So Time Stories gets a thumbs up from me.
Big thumbs up from me. Double thumbs.
Double thumbs.
And my toes are pointing up, if that helps.
And other things too, if you know what I mean.
Woo! We really like this game.
Talking about it.